Hey guys, Gabe here with G Squared RealTeam, and Kierstin is also here. And so today we wanted to touch base with you guys a little bit and just talk about a couple different things. We've had some people reach out and give us some questions about some things they've wanted to have answered in the world of real estate. And so we wanted to address those. But first and foremost, what I wanted to do was, it's been a while since I do a video, so I wanted to give you guys a quick update on everything that's going on. So for starters, we have moved into a new office. This is actually our it's a cuddy corner type thing where we've set up where it's kind of our coffee workshop where we just show up, have a cup of coffee here. It's kind of our in-house little coffee shop area. Yes, I know there's a door behind me. That door actually just goes to an attic, so don't worry about that. But that being said, we moved into a new location. It's been really exciting getting into this office. If you ever want to visit our office, just give me a holler, let me know. I'll be more than happy to give you guys a tour. And also, since the last video, the team has started. And so G Squared RealTeam has begun, and it's been going well. Actually, this month we were in the top 3 of units sold in volume, I believe it was, or units closed in volume, I believe it was. So either which way, doing well. And so with that, Kierstin has joined the team, and Kierstin is actually not originally Chattanoogan. So like myself, she's not originally Chattanoogan,
nope.
right?
Nope.
Right?
Nope. I was born in Kentucky and then lived in Florida for a couple of years. But I say I'm from Fort Wayne because I lived there for 20 years. So that kind of just is where I was brought up and kind of where my roots lay. So I moved here about a year and a half ago. Got licensed right away here in the state of Tennessee. Started working downtown at the Westin. And it's been great. And I'm excited to kind of continue down this road of real estate.
Yeah, so, and it's been awesome, and we've seen Kierstin just kind of shine as she's continued to enter into real estate and do things within the realm. She's very knowledgeable, very skilled, and just has a lot of compassion, guys. Like, that's one thing her and I have talked about it a lot, is that one of her biggest keys, in my opinion, to success is going to be that she's got so much compassion and so much drive for customer service, which is insane. I don't have that. I'm a little bit more shrewd, which is kind of an understatement, but you know, I'm more of a business transaction person, right? And so she's much more of a, oh, you want to know what restaurant to go to? Let me find you restaurants, right? You did that for a client recently.
Yeah, they just moved down here. I just know that the moving process can be frustrating. It can be kind of confusing. You can feel, around a bunch of people and just not know exactly where to go, where you are. And recently going through that process, I wanted to make sure that people, the only difficult part is not just buying the house. It's not just finding the area to live in. It's, the community that you're building up, the community that you're surrounding yourself with. So just making sure that you don't just come in and all of a sudden you're spending all this time in the house, but getting to know the area of Chattanooga and kind of the surrounding cities as well.
Right. Yeah, and one of the big things that I wanted to touch on today, and this kind of segues perfectly into the whole move thing, right? So someone asked on Facebook about, buying and selling and the stress of buying right now. Mm-hmm. So, you and I have both experienced that, where we've had clients who have seen property after property after property after property, and to no avail, right? Mm-hmm. They seem to either get outbid, or they seem to just kind of run into a scenario where they just don't get the property they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And so one of the big things that we were looking at, and I wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about this as well, was we were just talking about this yesterday, how even though it's stressful now, it's still better to buy now, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you want to kind of, and I'll make sure that once the video gets edited, we'll put some of this information on the screen itself. But I think, Kierstin has the information where it kind of breaks down buying essentially the same house today versus buying it in a few years at a lower price point. Mm-hmm. Right? So we'll break down those numbers.
So, kind of to first get you started, you'll think, okay, there's a house, and to make it easy, say it's, $300,000, and people, kind of are hearing, whether or not necessarily the word on the street is that everything is raising in value, everything's being increased. So, it's not the best time to buy because everything's so overpriced. It's a great time to sell, is what people are hearing. But really, there's a lot more that goes into the value of a home than just that purchase price, that listing price. There's the interest rates and everything that kind of goes along with that, to change, the total, not say the total value, but the total amount of money that you put into the home, rather than say just what your mortgage or purchase price is.
Right.
So.
Right. So like, and just to kind of break it down a little bit more, and I've done I've done the math a few times, so I kind of know some of these numbers as well. But like, if you were to purchase a house right now, and again, I'm going to use a number that I have in my head just because I'm familiar with it. But if you were to purchase a house right now with a 3.5% interest rate, right, you'd probably end up paying for that house roughly just under $376,000 for that house. That's roughly what you're going to own it for after interest. Now, mind you, that doesn't include your insurance and, if you have HOAs or any of that. But roughly, you're going to be just under 376-ish. Now, if you were to purchase that same house 2 or 3 years from now, and you bought it at 289, let's say 289.9, right? So 11, about $10,000 less, right? So $10,000 less on the house, give or take. You're now probably going to be at a higher interest at about 5%, right? Because that's just the way that usually the whole mortgage situation works with banks. So now you're going to pay a little bit less for the property, but you're going to have a little bit higher, which again, 5% is still not a bad rate. There's people out there who have 10% interest. It's crazy, but 5% is not a bad rate. But even at that 1.5% difference, you'll probably pay just under $450,000 for that house. So you're looking at almost a $75,000 difference in purchasing that house today versus purchasing it in the future for $10,000 less. So even if you deduct that $10,000, you're still paying $65,000 more for that house over the 30-year term of the note. Now, again, I've thrown some rough numbers and some very wild, kind of things. There's the other factor that says that because of that interest, so I think the difference in monthly payments on that scenario is roughly around $200 a month difference. So let's, for the sake of sanity, say that your monthly payment were to be $1,050 a month. If you were doing the 3.5, you'd be, let's say, at about $1,250 a month at the 5%. Which now, if your budget allotted you to have a monthly mortgage of $1,100, today you're $50 under your allotted budget. 3 years from now, you're $150 over what your budget would allow. So you technically can't even buy the house you want because your budget doesn't really allow you to, right? So unless you want to, $150 pays a lot of utilities,
Right.
So again, it's just kind of looking at it from that factor. Now, obviously we deal with a lot of the emotion too, where you do get outbid. That just happened to us. What was it, last weekend?
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah. Where, put in an offer. It was actually the only offer that we've put in this year that we went in above asking price. And it's a good friend, and so went ahead and did it because they were just in love with this home. They were in love with it. They still lost it. They still didn't get it. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. So, right now we're having to work harder, but that's kind of the big thing, guys. Like, that's kind of the biggest, I guess the caveat, right, is who are you working with, right? Because we do a lot of different things. Like, earlier today, Kierstin was doing some research and some extended studies and stuff on reverse prospecting, which again, that's not a ton of, it's not something uncommon to realtors and to know how to do and things like that. But we're constantly staying on top of things, right? Today we were actually discussing also about fishing, what I call fishing for properties, which is looking up properties and calling people who aren't looking to sell but fit the parameters and saying, hey, would you be willing to sell? And you know, I mean, we haven't had one close that way yet, but we've had some really good and like almost close to closing scenarios there, because we've had a buyer who's been interested and a seller that says, well, for the right amount of money, everything's for sale, right? So not everyone thinks that way, but a lot of people think that way. So it's a lot more work on our side, but it's something we're willing to do for our clients if we have to take it to that extreme. So I think that's one of the big things I would point out is whoever you're working with, make sure they're working for you. Make sure they're doing everything in their power to help you. And sometimes, you know, one of the reasons that we're a team is mostly because it's not just about Gabe, it's not just about Kierstin, it's not just about everybody else in the office. It's about Gabe can bring this to the table, Kier can bring this to the table. You know, we all bring our strengths to the table and combine them to help each other. We're a true team. So that's kind of one of the big things is I always said that whenever I was doing a team, I didn't want it to be a team of one hierarchy, and two, I didn't want a team where it was just one person carrying all the weight for this one type of client. So, you know, a buyer's agent. Like, I don't believe in buyer's agents because it's not about whether you're buying or selling. That doesn't change your personality. It's more about your personality. There's been tons of clients that I've gone to Kierstin and said, hey, you know what? These people need a little bit more hand-holding than what I'm willing and able to offer. Can you just take this client and help them? Because you're going to service them better than I can ever do, right? And the same can happen vice versa, right? Where it might be a scenario where it's like, hey, this person is kind of more along the lines of, let's say, investment property, right? And so it's like, can you kind of guide and help with this person because you know more about investments than what I do. So can you? And so again, it's more of a team effort in its true essence. So that being said, I mean, again, you know, if you're working with someone, you know, we're happy for you. There's plenty of business out there. There's plenty of agents out there. But we just say make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing for you. Understand to what degree and capacity they're kind of helping you out, because that's a pretty big deal.
And just to piggyback off that, you know, everyone knows that the market's changed and it's going to continue to change. It's never going to stay the same. Things aren't always going to be how they were the year before, 5 years before, 10 years before. And with that being said, we as real estate agents have to make sure that we're changing and adapting to how trends are going. So if things aren't sitting on the market long, okay, then we have to act, you know, quicker. Or if a property that we're, you know, continuing to look at properties and none of them fit your requirements or your criteria, okay, what can we do differently, kind of to search outside the box or to find homes outside the box for you, not just, okay, the home that you want out there isn't out there right now. And not necessarily just waiting for it to come, but going out and actively finding it. Just because, again, the market's changed and it's going to change again. And we're going to have to continue to adapt to that. We can't just, you know, expect things to stay the same way because it's the world. It doesn't stay.
Well, and that's the thing. And I would venture to guess that the Chattanooga market's not going to change anytime soon. You know, and I'm not, you know, don't care to get into the politics or into the economics of it necessarily, but just based on what we're seeing out there, I feel like we're going to continue to see that influx of people coming in from these major cities. I don't know of a single realtor, I don't know about you, but I don't personally know of a single realtor that's actively working that hasn't or isn't working with someone from out of state. I mean, that's just, I don't know of anyone. It's such a huge market right now. It's such a huge, like, I mean, in all actuality, it's really what most people are finding this little gem of Chattanooga and saying, I want there. And so, you know, I've dealt with it. You've dealt with it. I mean, so it's kind of, you know, it's kind of one of those scenarios. I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's you know, and again, this is just my personal opinion I think it's going to slow down to where, you know, people aren't going to be getting, you know, large amounts of offers over asking price, or, I mean, they may, but I think it's going to slow down a little bit. But I don't think, like you said, there's going to be a stop of people coming into Chattanooga, you know.
Right. Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think that part of that slowing down is going to happen now because you're going to have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Nobody wants to move during the holidays. So you are going to see some slowing down. But I think by next summer, we'll be right back in the same boat we're in now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a prime location just to anything, you know, I was back home 2 weekends ago just for a weekend. We can go down south just for a weekend. It's a very neutral location to pretty much anywhere, wherever kind of atmosphere you're trying to kind of reach. It's
super convenient. It's super, and that's the thing. It's super convenient, right? So that's one of the really nice things about Chattanooga is it almost is a center hub in the South, where you can just get anywhere within a few hours. And so I think that a lot of people see that. I also see that Chattanooga has a little bit for everyone, right? Whether you're older or younger, whether you're indoorsy or outdoorsy, right? There's almost like we have that where anybody can find something to do around here. And it's just really unique in that way. And I mean, that's what drove my wife and I here 12 years ago. I mean, let me rephrase, that's not what drove us here, but it's what kept us here. So we just wanted to get out of Miami, but and Chattanooga happened to be the place on the map that was just like, here we go, right? But it's what kept us here is the fact that even 12 years ago, there was still, like, I remember we were still trying to figure out the city, and we would go to Rembrandt's and sit down and have a cup of coffee at Rembrandt's and a dessert at Rembrandt's and then walk the bridge and then come back up and then go have dinner at Tony's and then, you know, go from there and walk the other way downtown or whatever. And it's like, and now it's gone so much more where Main Street's gotten, you know, so nice and has so many different things to do and so many different activities like the axe throwing and the, you know, we have all these things going on in Chattanooga now where, you know, there's just a lot to do. And I think it's really exciting. And I think a lot of people see that. And that's what's driving them here for sure. So I guess to kind of conclude and finish up the video, one of the other things I wanted to touch on, and I you know, I think it's more so along the lines of directly with what's been happening in terms of our team. So we were super excited because last month we actually had a property close, and it ended up getting 8 offers on it. We did an open house. So we have not held back on marketing at all on our listings, like at all. We do not care that you can sell your... Here's the thing, and I've said this many times. If anybody can sell anything and you don't really need to put the marketing effort into it, then why are people not doing for sale by owners, right? And they are, don't get me wrong, but why does a realtor work? It's not because... Yes, one, it is our resources, for sure. It's our resources. But more importantly than our resources, it's our experience in our marketing. And so we ended up getting 8 offers on the table, ended up closing $15,000 over asking price. Actually, ended up closing $10,000 over asking price, and it was $15,000 over asking price. The reason we ended up closing $10,000 over asking price was because of the appraisal. So that was really exciting. And then last month, you also had a land deal that closed for some clients from out of town. And sure enough, here we are talking about it, right? Out of town clients looking to buy some land to eventually build on the property. And I think they bought 8 acres. Is that right?
Yeah, just over 8.
Just over 8 acres. So that being said, you know, I wanted to point that out because, guys, like, we are very well versed. It's not just you want to buy this house, that house. I mean, we have clients across the board. We have clients that are looking in the 100 range, and we have clients that look in the $1 million range plus, right? So we can do the full blown spectrum, and we can help people with not just housing but also with land and what all those different
Renting,
yeah
purchasing, renting,
leasing,
any of that, yeah.
commercial space, right? We've done. I have, I think, about 5 clients on my board right now of commercial clients that I'm working with currently. So, again, guys, we're not limited to, and so I hope you guys got some good information in this video. I hope it was not just informative but fun as well. And guys, just feel free to give us a holler if you have any questions about anything. Please follow the page, like our page, find Kierstin as well on Facebook, and like her page as well. And then that way, you guys can stay in touch and whatnot. And if you guys have any questions, our information will be on the video. You guys have it. If you don't already, like I said, I'll put it on the video. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a good time during our quick coffee talk. We're going to try to do these every week. So hopefully next time I'll have more camera set up and have more angles so it can be a little bit more interactive. But for today, we're one camera in.
Yeah.
So it's been a long 2 weeks. I was sick for 2 weeks, not COVID, but I was sick for about 2 weeks. So I just got back in the office. So here we are trying to get caught up and picking things back up. Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.